Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Doctor Who Reviews, 4 Sleep Still Pokemon Edition.
Hey!
I think I have chosen now.
I paid off my car!
Yay!
Woo!
Debt!
No more debt. At least for that.
Yeah, no
Everything
more
else
debt
I'm
for
still
that.
fucked on.
But
I don't have to pay like $400 a month for my car now.
That's very good. Yeah, that's good. So we are discussing not Pokemon, but the monster of Peladon. No, we're not. God damn it! It's the other one. It's the other one. I knew I was going to get it wrong at least once, so let's just get it out of the way now. That's fine. We are doing the Curse of Peladon, the good one, because the monster of Peladon kind of sucks.
The one that does not involve exercise bikes that are really over expensive.
That's still Peloton.
Same thing.
Which, by the way, now has a Christmas advert. We live in hell. But yes, the Curse of Peladon.
Is it yet another condescending one where it's like, oh, women do nothing but eat salads, look pretty, and exercise?
I wasn't paying attention. I just saw Peloton Christmas advert. Right, I'm out. I'm heading upstairs to start the podcast.
Yeah.
And to discuss the Curse of Peladon. Sorry, go on.
Can I just say, I really like the fact that what pressured you to come upstairs to do the podcast was not the fact that you were very, very late. Which, by the way, he was like 20 minutes late.
I had my reasons.
But it was the fact that you saw a Peloton.
No, that was a coincidence. I'd finished my meal. I finished doing my errands downstairs. And the first thing I happened to see was a Peloton ad. And I thought, right, I'm out. But also, thank you very much, Dear Slaughtering Public. I appreciate it very much, Kat.
Oh, 100%, it's me.
Laying my faults bare for all of the internet to hear. That's the Cat way.
Well, you already do that because you claim to be British.
Claim? I am. Actually, I'm not British, I'm English.
Sure.
You're right, I'm not British, I'm English.
That's what all the Americans say.
No, it isn't. Believe me. So... So to discuss the curse...
Who are these crazy people?
To discuss the Curse of Peladon with me, I'm joined by my co-host, to my virtual left, Scarlet or Violet? Now to do with Pokemon, that's the choice of hair colour this month, it's Cat.
Oh, I wish my job wouldn't let me color my hair like that.
Why not both? No, I know that your job wouldn't let you do that.
Did you say you wanted both?
not that way.
I have disposable income now.
Not that bone. God damn it.
For those not in the know, I've been regularly threatening to buy Rainiac both copies of the new Pokemon game that's coming out.
I have the money set aside for one copy, which I can now announce is Violet. So all four of us are getting Violet. Good luck with trades with that.
Well, you know, Violet is just a precursor to violence.
That's very profound.
And trust me, I want to throw some hands.
I may have to steal that. Violet is a precursor to violence. Love it.
For those of you who may be concerned, Frez was eaten by a Gru.
Yep.
He's fine.
That's all we have to say about that.
That's all the reason we're going to give.
Yep, that's all we have to say about that.
It was pretty gruesome.
Oh my god. Was going to ask if you brought your soundboard. I had my answer.
Hey.
Mental.
It's like, I have also promised to do one thing in his stead, and, you know, I am geared up and ready to do that.
I wonder what that might be.
Oh, like you don't know.
I wonder it might involve certain reflections on certain things. Just a thought.
Who is that Canadian I see? Fantastic movie. Don't watch the live action one. It's shit and has a good person starring in it that sort of excuse the horrors that happened to the Hong Kong protesters. Watch the original. It's better.
Yes. The animated one is far superior. It's quite wild how the live action one was tanked before it even came out because of the actions of the lead actress.
Well, funny how, doing things in a public setting, once again, leads to certain consequences. It's like we said last time. You are free to your opinion. You're not free to be excused from the consequences of expressing that opinion.
You're also free to fuck around and find out.
Exactly.
Which she did. So, Curse of Peladon then, 1972, this aired. Which means it's a John Pertwee episode.
From January to the 19th of February.
Mm-hmm. So we haven't really covered John Pertwee that much compared to other Doctors. But here he is, and this would get a sequel 2 years later, The Monster of Peladon, which I've already mistakenly called this story.
Is that still Pertwee, or is it...
That's still Pertwee, yeah. But that's Pertwee and Sarah Jane, not Joe.
Oh.
Same Doctor, different companion, and it kind of sucks.
Oh, that sucks.
It's kind of very sexist.
And this one wasn't?
It's less sexist than Monster.
I mean, it was still a little sexist.
I mean, the entire plot of Monster basically revolves around this female ruler is not wise enough to do anything because she's a female ruler. Because women can't do anything. Turns out she can, but that's not the point.
Well, our boobs and ovaries are far too heavy, so we just have to sit here and look pretty the entire time.
I refuse to even respond to that because any response I give condemns me.
No, the only response you have to that is sexism is fucked up.
Which I've already said, in fairness. I said it sucks because it's sexist.
It's like, small tangent. The thing that really gets me is you don't even have to be born female to have people be sexist against you. It's like if they perceive you as female in general, they are sexist. It's crazy.
Mm-hmm. This also has the delightful distinction of being a story very much heavily influenced by UK politics. Joy.
Yay!
Because we know how much we love those stories here in this fandom.
So, is this about joining the EU or something?
Yep.
Yeah, I can see how.
It is in fact an allegory for joining the European Union.
One could also say that this is definitely a sort of allegory for Brexit.
Yeah. And that's why he won't be here.
UK politics are fucked up.
Yeah. Do you think? We've had 3 prime ministers in a year.
I mean, this is coming from the girl who absolutely stands Lord Buckethead. Although apparently the guy who ran for office as Lord Buckethead stole the character from somebody else.
Yeah, we stand Count Binface.
Yes.
We don't stand Lord Buckethead anymore.
Well, no, Lord Buckethead we can stand because he was owned by somebody else. Lord Binface is the one who stole Lord Buckethead.
Other way around, I think. But anyway.
I don't know.
Whichever one is the original, we stand that guy. So...
Yes.
We begin with an argument between 2 guys that look very, very similar to each other. They're actually brothers, although you don't find this out.
Well, you kind of do. I think it's in this scene that he's like, the king steps down and is like, you two are brothers. You shouldn't be arguing like this.
He might say that, yeah. By the way, the king, you have seen this guy before.
I was like, he sounds very familiar, but I can't place it. It turns out he's Patrick Troughton's son.
Yeah, and we've seen him twice.
It's David Troughton.
We've seen him twice before in the War Games.
And in Midnight.
And yeah.
He was Professor Hobbs.
He's very good at Midnight.
Yeah.
He's okay here. I kind of think he's one of the weaker parts of the story.
To be fair, I think that's on purpose rather than just because of him.
He's
it's
meant
like
to be
they
quite a weak
purposely
character.
wanted to make the king. They wanted to make the king character very powerless, I guess is the correct word.
And that does play into what happens in part 4. So yes, I agree with you. I'm not going to knock his acting.
Basically, he's a prime minister of England.
Thanks for that.
Dude, I've had to deal with presidents. I know your pain.
I was going to say, we need to have good premise. Then I realised, did we though?
The only difference between myself and you is the fact that you can actually get rid of your prime ministers. We're stuck.
True. Although, the midterms weren't like the bloodbath they were thought to be.
Oh, honey, you don't even fucking know.
I didn't say it was good, I just said it wasn't the bloodbath.
The bloodbath is continuing on. There are people here, not in the county that I live in, because apparently this county voted for Blake Masters, who is entirely a Nazi, by the way.
Oh, God.
Yeah. That's fucked up.
Like an actual Nazi, not...
He's not an actual Nazi as far as I know, but back when he was in college, he wrote a lot of papers where he quoted and praised certain Nazi people, including the main right hand of Hitler himself.
Okay, yeah.
So, if he's not, then it's really suspicious.
You can absolutely call him that, then.
But there are some people in Maricopa County who are calling, voter fraud because their preferred person didn't win in the county.
Of course they are.
Same old, same old.
This is what Trump has unleashed.
Unfortunately. And the worst part is, in 2 more years, he's going to be able to try to run again?
I have a funny feeling that's not going to happen.
My eye is currently twitching.
He's getting heavily blamed for the defeats by the Republican Party. So, let's see what happens.
Yeah, but here's the thing. He's still, quote-unquote, the popular choice among the Republican Party. And more than likely, if they don't pick him, all of their constituents are going to turn against them. And do you really think that the Republican Party has the balls to do that?
No.
Exactly.
It's not like to do Ron DeSantis is any better, but...
None of them are any better.
Is it Ron DeSantis or Rick DeSantis? I can't remember.
I want to say Rick, but honestly, I
was hoping it was Ron to make them to do Ron joke, but...
I'm so tired.
Yeah.
I want our president to not be a fuckhead. And he keeps being one.
Yeah. I feel your pain.
It's like, even now Biden is like the lesser of two evils, but he's still not doing shit.
Yeah.
It's like even, you know how they're doing that whole student loan thing?
Yeah.
I signed up for that because that could take off half of my student loans, and that's fantastic. And I'm rooting for that. They've already been sued to try and stop it, so they're halting it.
Oh, for God's sakes.
So anyways, the sadness of American politics aside, let's instead turn to the sadness of UK politics. I mean, the Curse of Peladon.
I was going to say, no, let's focus back on the story. So, the two brothers, Torbis and Hepesh, are arguing. One wants to follow the old ways, one wants to join the Galactic Federation, which is totally not the European Union.
And to put it into perspective, Torbis is the king's chancellor and Hepesh is the king's high priest, so you could probably assume which one is which.
Yeah. Gee, that's saying something, isn't it? The high priest wants to keep the old ways.
Yeah, I'm not a big fan of the fact that they essentially turn it into... I hate to put it this way, but they essentially turn it to logic versus religion, in a way.
Yeah.
Logic dictates that it would be the best to join the whole union thing, but tradition and religion says no, stay separate. And I'm not a big fan of that.
To quote...
It's like, I know it's true, but,
yeah.
I'm still not a big fan of that, because there are good religions out there.
To quote Garth Marenghi, I know writers use subtext and they're all cowards. But anyway... so the argument is broken up. Torbis walks off and is immediately killed.
Yeah. Well, 2 weeks to retirement. He's not wearing a red shirt, but he is under the purple robes. Yada, yada, yada.
We hear this roar of a giant monster. And by the time they get to him, he's already dead. And the king asks one of the soldiers, like, who did this? And the soldier just points to a statue on the wall of a monster. Agador.
Their god.
No relation to Trogdor the Burninator.
Trogdor!
Thank you. Was hoping you queued that up.
No, that was just me.
And that's what I mean. I was hoping you'd take the cue and do that.
Cool. I love Trogdor.
I know. But I didn't know. But
Burninating the countryside.
Trogdor's awesome. So that's happened. Meanwhile, the TARDIS has arrived on a mountain. Because this is the first time that the Doctor has got the TARDIS working to go to other worlds after the Three Doctors.
Quote unquote.
Yeah. Actually, no. Is this before the Three Doctors or after it? Let me just check.
I'm not sure.
This is before the Sea Devils and after Day of the Daleks.
I think you mean this is before the Sea Boys.
Oh, sorry. Yeah. That's 20p in the swear jar. Sorry, Fresno. Yeah, the Sea Boys.
Time Monster.
Demons.
The Three Doctors. So it's before the Three Doctors.
It's before the Three Doctors. Okay, so this is when that weird period where he thought he had control of the TARDIS, but didn't.
So basically every single episode of Doctor Who.
No, he thought he got around the Time Lords keeping him on Earth. And he hadn't.
Well, technically he did, because he is on another planet.
But as you'll find out, he's maybe not in control of that.
Yeah.
But he did a test flight to check the TARDIS is working. He's congratulating himself. Joe's upset because she was going to have a date with Mike Yates. But the Doctor's not letting her out of the TARDIS. So let's check.
Mostly because he wants to check the scanner, and turns out that's broken.
Yeah. Also, Joey's dressed up for this night out with Mike. That does play into what we're going to see a bit later on.
Yeah.
So where did they arrive? They arrived at the edge of a cliff.
Quite literal cliffhanger. Except it's not the end of the episode, so therefore it doesn't count.
Yeah. So we get a bit of action where they have to climb around the side of this cliff. And then the TARDIS just falls off the cliff. Oops.
Which I have to say, kudos to the model makers, because they quite obviously throw this model down, a fake mountain. But that model stays together really well.
Yeah. And it has to, because the TARDIS cannot be destroyed by falling.
Yeah, it's pretty much indestructible. Unless, of course, you put a bunch of Daleks inside and tell it to self-destruct.
Yeah.
Just a reminder, in this one, the Doctor calls the TARDIS a she.
Or what they did to the TARDIS in Journey's End, the Daleks.
Why is it always Daleks?
I mean, you've just answered the same question I've had for the last 20 years. Why is it always Daleks?
It's always Daleks or Cybermen. Get some original material, damn it.
We did, and people complained. We got original material, we got Series 11 out of it. Would you care to go back there? I wouldn't. But anyway. We then meet the delegates of this Galactic Federation, which is totally not the European Union. And oh my god, we have to discuss these people. Because one of them is like one of the funniest designs this show's seen.
Is it Alpha Centauri?
It's Alpha Centauri.
Yeah.
I like to call it the dancing old head. Most people like to call it the giant penis. Because look at it.
Yeah.
It's a giant penis.
It's a giant penis with 6 arms.
It even has veins, for God's sakes.
Especially bad when you look at it from behind.
I have to tell you this story about the director, because this is very, very funny.
I also just realized that the Alpha Centauri is circumcised then.
Yeah. The director is an Australian called Lenny Mayne, and he took one look at the costume for Alpha Centauri and said, and I quote, "It looks like an effing prick."
To be fair, in this entire episode, it pretty much is a prick.
So the costume designer, Barbara Lane, decided, right, how do we make it look less phallic? I know, we'll stick a cloak on it. So Centauri's got
it
a
just
big
looks
cloak.
like it's been cut.
No, the cloak was added, and the director said, right, now it looks like a prick in a cape.
He ain't wrong.
He's not wrong. He's not at all wrong. Look at this thing.
Hang on, I gotta find the...
You gotta find something?
Yeah.
Oh no. What is your mind cooking up?
Obvious.
I'm not seeing anything at the moment.
It's in, oh, shoot, it's in the memes chat. Crap.
Yes, fair enough. It is that. I don't know where that clip comes from, because I've seen that clip a few times. I'm
just gonna delete that message.
Yeah, I've seen that clip a few times. Yes, you might have people there funny. What the hell's this being posted for?
So I'll just delete that.
But yeah, as the guy says, that's a penis.
PSA for everybody out there, when you're in a Discord voice call, make sure you're in the correct chat for that voice call.
Yeah, mood.
Otherwise, you're going to confuse some people.
That's happened before me. Thought I was posting to the same Discord as the podcast that was taking place. Was actually posting it to Caliban. And Caliban was like, what the hell is this all about?
Although I will say, sometimes if you do that and then own it, you could really confuse the other person, and it's funny as hell.
Yes. But, so that's Alpha Centauri. We also have Arcturus, which is a little head in a big tank, essentially.
And of course, both their voices are not annoying in the slightest, and certainly will not grate on your nerves the entire time they're speaking.
I love the fact they reference this in part 4.
Yeah. There's
a great line where they're all in danger, and one of the delegates has been killed, and he says, I prefer his cold logic to Alpha Centauri's screaming. We'll get to that exact line in part 4, but I do love that bit. I love
how that whole part is just basically, shut up, Centauri.
I mean, Shut Up, Centauri is basically the plot, the subplot of this whole story. But I don't want to be too harsh on this Zen Churchman, because she was told to play this like a gay civil servant.
Seriously?
She was told to give it the voice of a gay civil servant by the director.
Wow, that is so offensive.
So we have a big penis in a cape with the voice of a gay civil servant.
Holy shit.
The 70s, everybody! Yeah, Arcturus looks a little bit, for my money, like one of those things out of Mars Attacks. But then we have the big addition to the Federation. It's the Ice Warriors.
Yeah, that was a surprise, because, like, when we finally get to that part, like, this is a little bit later once the Doctor and Joe actually managed to get to safety. Because during that entire thing with the Centauri and, meeting the... the Arcturian Arcturus.
Arcturus.
But during this, it's intercut with images of the Doctor and Joe climbing up the mountain, getting tired. They find a tunnel. They go through the tunnel. They get up inside the Citadel, so forth. But, like, there's this one scene where they're coming down the hallway, and they stop. And then, like, somebody passes by them, and I'm like, that looks a lot like an ice warrior. What are they doing here? And then the Doctor's like, an ice warrior. And I'm like, oh, shit.
I love the inclusion of the ice warriors in this story.
It's very interesting, especially since in this one, they're allies.
Yeah, they keep you guessing throughout. Are they allies? Are they enemies? Are they a bit of both? Turns out they can be trusted.
Yeah, which is weird. But I love it.
I like the development, personally.
It's kind of like a better version of the 13th Doctor trusting the Dalek.
Yeah, I guess it is.
One could also say that is a very, very loose, but I promised Frez I would do this.
Doctor Who Mirror Alert. Doctor Who Mirror Alert.
I mean, that's a very
I couldn't find
tenuous.
anything else.
That's a very tenuous link. But you
I
did promise.
couldn't find anything else. There are no visible mirrors in this.
I know. Why do you think I picked it?
Damn you!
No, I really picked it.
Every single time that vaguely resembles a mirror.
The real reason I picked it is because we hadn't done enough for Doctor Stories. I wanted to pick a quote-unquote good one.
Yeah.
And I think I succeeded, mostly.
Yeah, I think you did.
There's a bit more plodding and exposition than I remembered there being, but that's okay. It was a story set in the 70s. It can't all be action.
Yeah.
Also, Arcturus has a death ray. That will not come into play at all. He just disintegrates a jar.
Yeah,
we'll
just tuck his Chekhov's gun back in.
He's like, we're here, we're delegates of peace, but if I'm threatened, and out comes the death ray and just shoots this jar. And just disintegrates it to nothing.
But yeah, the delegates are kind of freaked out because, Torbus is fucking dead and they don't know how, so of course they're just like, oh shit, are we next? This is supposed to be a peaceful mission. We're here to help support you and you're not supporting us because there's all this weird shit going on, and the entire time the king is like, calm down, bitches.
Yeah.
It's fine.
And Hephaestus uses his advantage because he says, oh, my brother was killed by Agador, so our god does not want us to join the Galactic Federation. This is a trap. King Peladon does not fall for this. He still wants to go ahead with the treaty, joining the Federation.
Yeah.
And at this moment, the Doctor and Joe blunder into the situation.
Well, slightly before that happens is that there is a moment where Hepesh and the king are alone together, and they're talking about, each other and Torbus and everything. And it turns out the king is actually half Peladonian and half human.
Yeah.
Because his mother was an Earth woman. So he is the true hybrid of the story. We're done here. Let's go. But either way, Hepesh does not like Earth. He does not like, the idea of the Earth representatives being here. He does not like the Federation being here. It's quite obvious who is, causing all this bad stuff to happen. But we'll get to that in a minute.
It couldn't be the guy that opposed this from the beginning, could it? Surely not.
Surely not.
It couldn't possibly
his own brother was killed, but he's not,
It couldn't possibly be
the
future of Nigel Farage, could it?
But either way, the king himself is really confused because he's like, I'm the one who wants to join the Galactic Federation. Why did Agador kill, Torbus? And Hephaestus says, it's a sign that you are still steadfast, that you are still the one true king. Because, he doesn't want to get rid of the king because, he's been essentially raising him for so long. He'll do a heel turn soon enough. Don't worry about that.
He's already done it pretty much.
Hepesh is basically extremely racist at this point because he assumes that the entire Federation wants to enslave all of Peladon and just take all of their, minerals and everything.
Like I said, the future has to... No, I'm joking. I'm not going into that kind of words. I heard the man speak twice. In public.
So they decide to summon the delegates, and the king is like, I'm going to prove you wrong. These guys are on the up and up. They're here to help us.
And this is where they blundered into the situation, yes.
Yeah. Although there is this really fun moment in the tunnels where the Doctor and Joe don't know where to go, and they're just like, eeny, meeny, miny, mo. And then down the Mo tunnel, they hear a giant roar, and they're like, fuck that tunnel, here we go.
I wish they said that in a blooper or something, but they don't.
I know, it would have been perfect.
The closest we get is John Pertwee saying the word shit in a blooper for the Five Doctors. When he forgets his line. John Pertwee was great. I'm sorry, he just was.
He was. Honestly, I can't think of a single Doctor that was bad at what they did. It was always the writing or the producers or outside influences that changed how they were perceived.
Yeah. Anywho, they've blundered into the situation, but the Doctor very quickly gets back on top by claiming that he's the Earth delegate.
I'm sure that won't come back to bite him in the ass later.
Yeah, and because Jo is a woman, she has to be of royal blood. So the Doctor quickly thinks on his feet and says, "Oh, this is Princess Josephine of TARDIS, Your Majesty." I think actually Jo comes up with the idea of being a member of the royal family. And then the Doctor comes up with the name. Because she does have some agency in the story. Not a huge amount. But she does have some.
Yeah, this is the part where it's slightly sexist, where Hypatia's like, she has to be of royal blood because only royalty, men of status or royalty, or royal women are allowed in here. The punishment is death if they violate it.
Official delegates or royalty.
Shit.
So she said, well, I'm royalty. Yeah. So meet Princess Josephine of TARDIS for this story.
Which is funny because it's actually Jo who decides that she's a princess, and she's like, present me to the king.
Yeah.
And, the Doctor is like, okay then, Your Majesty, let's do this.
He quickly comes onto what she's doing.
Which honestly is good because, again, the punishment is death
And
for being a
he
woman.
never chides her for it, so I think he approves of the ruse.
I mean, again,
The punishment's death. Yes, exactly. But he goes along with it to save her. Then we get a bit where the Ice Warrior... There are two Ice Warriors. I'm going to get these names horribly butchered, but I apologise. The standard Ice Warrior that you like the rank and file is Sorg. SSORG. And then I can't pronounce this name.
Islir?
Isilda?
I think they pronounced it Islir.
Yeah. IZL. Yeah. Islir is probably the closest we're going to get to it. And he's the equivalent of an Ice Lord. So he is the superior, and Sorg is his sub-delegate.
Izzy and Sack.
Okay. Izzy and Sack. Izzy is the Lord, and his sub-delegate is Sack. So... What has this show turned into without Jerry? Good God.
Nobody's here to hold me back.
I'm here.
You're
Nobody
fucked.
important to hold me back. God damn it.
You said it, not me.
Everyone important to you is dead. I'm here. Everyone important. Oh.
For those who are questioning why I sound a little bit different, I'm having some trouble with congestion. I just recovered from COVID. So...
Yeah.
That's why you're going to hear me making gross coughing and stuff. I'll try to stop. I am trying. It's just,
I've had COVID
every so
myself.
often.
I do not blame you the slightest.
I'm 100% better. It's literally just the congestion.
Yeah. Anyway, there's a talk about the death of Torbis. And then our cliffhanger is quite wild because the statue is about to fall on everybody.
Yeah, we should mention during this entire scene where they're talking and the king is quite obviously into Joe, you can see in the background, I believe it's the king's champion who does this.
Yeah, it's Groon, the king's champion.
He basically, like, in the most obvious but subtle manner, backs his way behind a curtain, and then there's a clip, like they cut to a clip of him coming above where this statue is and basically being ready to lever it off.
That's exactly it. He climbs above a door and then gets like a fulcrum in position to lever the statue. And then part one ends with the statue falling.
Yeah, and you actually see Hepesh, like, nod to this guy, so it's like, wow, the obvious villain is the obvious villain. Shock. Horror.
Yeah.
Surprise.
And of course, part two begins with the statue not hitting anybody, but the Doctor does save all three delegates.
Mostly the Ice Warriors, because they were the last in line.
Yeah. But Alpha Centauri's there as well.
Well, yeah, but we don't care about Alpha Centauri.
Which you can tell because it shrieks. And
for those asking, at one point in the episode, Joe does ask the gender of Alpha Centauri, and the Doctor's like, they're hermaphrodites, so the Alpha Centauri is not a she or a he, it's an it.
Yeah, we'll call it or they. Despite the fact it's got a female voice actor and a female voice. But it is an it.
Yes.
So now that's out of the way. The Doctor has saved both Alpha Centauri and the two Ice Warriors. Hepesh lies and says that Agador was the one that saved them, not the Doctor, even though the Doctor blatantly pushed them out the way.
Well, I think it's more that Agador is the one who pushed over the statue, but Agador was merciful because the Doctor got there in time.
Yeah. The Doctor says there needs to be an investigation. Hepesh says, oh, there's no need to investigation. It's just the wrath of Agador. Great. It was just the wrath of God. Case dismissed.
And so they're like, okay, so this is weird. You're going to have to tell us about Agador because we need to know how much danger we're in. And so Hepesh says that it's foretold that when Agador returns, there'll be, terror, darkness, death, bad shit will happen, people die, so forth. The usual bullshit.
Yeah. Meanwhile, the King Peladon, is discussing with the delegates about the incident with the statue. And the Doctor really sort of lays it out bare. He says, you've got a choice. You can side with the King or you can side with Agador. And he actually does say Agador, doesn't he?
I think so, yeah. And also, during this part, while they're all talking, Joe does the same thing that the King's Champion did. She makes her way through the little tunnel behind the curtain. She gets up to the top where the statue was, and she happens to find an item there. So, item get. If I had the item get sound from Zelda, I would put it in, but I don't.
Thankfully, I do.
Oversight. So yes, she finds this random item, as well as some footprints and the dust on the floor. She makes her way back very sneakily, and nobody happens to see her, which, honestly... Here's the thing that gets me. So we find out that the item she picked up was an electronic key that belongs to, more than likely, the Ice Warriors. And this entire time, the Doctor is assuming that the Ice Warriors are the ones who tried to do all this, even though, again, he pushed the two delegates out of the way. So they were both there when, the statue fell. I assume he thinks that they rigged it up or something. But my question is, how did he know for Joe to go through that tunnel if he didn't see the King's Champion going through himself?
Yeah. It's a bit of a plot hole, isn't it?
Yeah, because there's no reason that the King's Champion would be working with the Ice Warriors. There's no reason that the Doctor would not have seen him going through there. And there's no reason that the Doctor would assume that, that's the way you're supposed to go to get to the tunnel that leads to where the statue is. It's very strange.
Yeah. We should also point out that Peladon says that to the delegates, you all come from countries that used to be racked with war, and I want my country of Peladon, or my planet, sorry, Peladon, to follow your stead. I want to have peace. That's why I want to join the Galactic Federation. Again, the European Union says hi.
The European Union would like to know your location.
I will just put this out there. I don't think by itself Brexit was a terrible thing. Because the European Union is not perfect.
Well, we're going to get cancelled.
Let them.
Yeah. We
get like 12 views per video.
Excuse you, we get like 30 something.
True. But this is from someone who actually, has lived through the implementation of Brexit and was here when the referendum happened. And although I voted in favour of... I originally was in favour of staying. But after the vote happened, and there was a tremendous push to, the vote's gone wrong, we need to have another referendum to reverse this. No! It happened. Leave one.
Like my favourite are the people who are like, I just voted yes to leave as a joke. I didn't know we'd actually do it.
Yeah. We have a name for those people. They're called idiots.
Yeah.
But it quickly dawned on me that the European Union was not going to change if we stayed inside of it, which is why I then changed my mind to, maybe we should leave it. As it turns out, maybe that wasn't the right answer, but then again, it could be that there's no right answer here, that there were difficulties either way. So, yeah, that's all I'll say on that subject. We can now be uncancelled. I don't care if it doesn't work like that. It works like that today, damn it, because I said it does. I am not having this.
And as I said before, you are entitled to your opinion. Whatever consequences come from that opinion, however, that's all on you.
Well, come on. Consequence for saying that I originally supported Remain and then switched to Leave, and now I'm not sure which I support. Wow, what a terrible controversial worldview to have.
I mean, you said it, not me, so...
No, I'm being sarcastic!
Don't cancel me.
I'm not going to cancel you. You know I'm being sarcastic, right? The point is that just supporting Leave or just support Remain does not make you a bad person.
No.
You have your
Voting
reasons.
like an idiot makes you a bad person.
You have your reasons for voting how you do.
No, I mean... Specifically, those people who are like, I just did it as a joke.
Yeah, those people are idiots. But people that actually knew what they were voting for are not, by and large.
Yeah. It's like you vote for what you want to vote for. There are certain things that are quite obviously bad, like all the people who voted for Donald Trump. And, all the people who continue to support him afterwards.
Yeah, and the whole Remain thing saying, we need to hold another referendum, that was very Trump-like. They will not admit to it being very Trump-like, but it was. We lost the vote, but the vote didn't count. Let's have another one.
Yeah.
Anyway, that's the last I will say on that because
politics in Doctor Who.
More likely than you think. So, we then get a scene. Jo must have got back down from where she was.
Yeah, we see her sneaking back out.
Yeah. The Doctor is made chairman of the delegates. So
Which I think the human delegate was going to be chairman anyways.
Yeah. So...
It just obviously wasn't supposed to be the Doctor.
No, but he's the chair of the delegates now. So he says that the delegation should continue. The Ice Warriors are not sure about this. We're all at risk if we stay here. But they do... agree to stay for the time being. there are arguments, there are raised voices. The Federation does adjourn, and that's where the king is left alone with Joe. And this is where the king has got the hots for Joe, and it's patently obvious that he has.
Yeah, I mean, it was obvious from the moment that he was introduced to Joe. So, you know.
Yeah. But actually, he doesn't really want her as a friend. He wants her as a political ally. And Joe, to her credit,
it's kind of
this.
a mix of both.
Yeah. But she realises this, and she gets quite cross at him for it. So, again, agency for Joe, fantastic.
Which, I mean, is kind of, you know, a good thing, but also a bad thing, because later on it leads to, you know, I'm sad that I have to leave.
Yeah.
I've known this guy for all of one day, and I'm sad that I have to leave.
That's true. That's just how to wrap up the story.
But yeah, basically, the king, like, begs the delegates, it's like, please help my people. We want to move into the future. We really do. It's like, all this, you know, stuff that's been happening, it's not me. Please help us. And so when he's alone with Joe, he's like, you believe me, right? Not as, like, a royal, but as a person. Do you believe me?
Yeah.
And there's this really funny joke where the king is like, I'm only ever around, you know, Hepesh and originally, you know, the other guy, and they're both old dudes. And it's like, I'm lonely. I want some people who are my own age, and you have to know what that's like because you're friends with an old man like the doctor.
Yeah.
But then he starts, like, talking like, we have a bond, and you're beautiful. Do you believe me? And she's like, yeah, I think I do. Will you speak for me then, as a political ally?
Yeah.
And Joe's like, excuse me?
Tonight on first dates? No.
It's not really a first date until you help them, you know, join a political union.
First date,
I've had three like that.
First date, dinner at a film. Second date, join the European Union.
Third date, third base.
Fourth date, leave the European Union.
No, you're supposed to fuck them over in the third date.
I'll allow that because that was a funny joke. Thank you. Then we get more between Joe and Doctor, like, oh, the Ice Warriors have to have done this because that key was made of trisilicates, and that's only found on Mars. And those footprints, they have to be Isla's. What the hell's his name?
Izzy boy.
He is not from Yu-Gi-Oh! Stop it. Islia, that's it. Izzy. And Joe's like, well,
Yeah,
it can't have been
honestly,
him because he was in the throne room with us and he got crushed by the statue. The Doctor is really trying to
Or
find
was he?
excuses that it could be the Ice Warriors, even though we know it can't be. Because, again, they never got crushed by the statue.
We already know exactly who it is, so, you know. This is just aggravation at the Doctor not finding it out.
Yeah, and we also find out, by the way, that Grud, the King's Champion, is working for Hepesh. Just before this.
Yeah, because there's like a whole scene where Hepesh is like, don't blame yourself for not hitting them. It's perfectly fine. You're still going to defend the King's honor. You're going to go after the human delegate, which obviously is the Doctor.
And kill him.
So, and, you know, kill him. So, you'll be fine.
Yeah. Also, Grun can't talk, so...
Yeah, I don't get that one.
He can No. Don't tell me that was why they called him Grun. Because he only communicates by grunting. That is it, isn't it?
I'm going to say one slightly controversial thing, but also not controversial in the slightest. At least he wasn't black.
I don't think that's controversial given other characters that we've seen in the Tomb of the Cybermen.
That's why I said it's also not controversial.
Yeah.
But, you know, it's one of those things where it's like, sadly, Doctor Who has a history of these characters being black.
I'm afraid so. So
not.
at this occasion, he's not black.
Yeah.
Now we really are cancelled. Good
well, it was
job.
nice knowing you.
I mean, it's okay. If you get cancer, you can just make millions of pounds like J.K. Rowling. Oh
But I don't want
no, I'm
millions
being
of pounds. I'm
cancelled.
trying to lose pounds.
My right to speak are being taken away, I say as I sign my 6th book deal.
I say as I write a book about how this transphobe online is being vilified by these random haters.
That's out now, isn't it, the Ink Blackheart? Good God.
Anyways,
Is right.
so the Doctor is, assuming that the Ice Warriors are just how they've always been, savage, were like, the last time that he encountered them, they were trying to colonize Earth. Peladon is very Earth-like, so maybe that's what they wanted. Joe is, completely unsure about this, because none of that sounds right. So the Doctor is like, well, it can't be the other two, and, you were able to sneak out, so maybe he snuck out, too. And so he's wondering what the motive might be. And they obviously can't leave because the TARDIS is still at the bottom of the cliff, but also the Doctor doesn't want to leave because the Doctor.
Yeah, and Joe actually said, you love this, don't you? She knows.
And then they are interrupted by the sound of an alarm.
Whoop, whoop, it's the sound of the police. No. It's actually the sound of Arcturus dying.
Yeah, slightly.
His life support system has been removed.
And so the Doctor's, standing there trying to fix it, and Joe asks what the box, the life support looks like, and the Doctor's like, it's a box with a bunch of circuits in it. So Joe's like, well, what should I do? Maybe we can... Oh, I know. Why don't we go search the other delegates' rooms, try to find the box, then we'll know who to accuse. And so the Doctor's like, no, we can't do that. It's too dangerous. But, of course, Joe manages to sneak out because she's capable of doing that, as we've seen several times. And by this point, some of the other delegates and Hipesh come in, and it's like, I'm trying to save his life. Shut the fuck up.
Yeah, they think he's attacking Arcturus.
Yeah.
He's actually trying to save Arcturus. And
So
Joe goes in to find the part.
This is gonna go.
Yeah, she finds the part in the, of course, where else? The Ice Warriors' abode.
Yeah, which isn't helping the whole situation.
No, they really do go out of their way to try and make it look like the Ice Warriors are guilty here. At least the first
even though
parts.
again, we know that they're not.
Yeah, but
we have seen that they're not.
It adds to the intrigue of the story.
Yeah, I guess.
We can probably figure out it's not the Ice Warriors that are doing this, but the Doctor and Joe have to figure out themselves.
Honestly, what they should have done was completely cut out the, I keep forgetting his name, so I'm just going to say the King's Champion. They should have cut out that bit with the King's Champion toppling over the statue.
Yeah.
Completely, just to help keep the intrigue.
Should have had him just it drops and then show him worshipping and saying, kill the Doctor.
Yeah.
But they don't do that. They show you that it's Groom that did it. So Joe's found it, so she now thinks that the Ice Warriors are to blame. Not thinking that, hang on a second, maybe just maybe it was planted. Yeah. But she's caught. She's caught by the big Ice Warrior.
In the most stupid way I've ever seen. So she hears somebody coming, and instead of cleaning up or anything, because she left a bunch of stuff open to find this part, she hides behind a curtain and she gets caught by Sorg. No, it's SSONG, isn't it?
No, that is TARDIS Wiki's wrong mistake.
Oh.
It is Sorg.
So she's caught by Sack because he looks around, he looks down, and her shoes are pointing out from under the curtain.
Joe's caught by the sack. That sounds painful. Just extremely painful. Are you okay?
So he is, of course, like, the hell are you doing? And Joe's like, I was looking for this, and you have it. Why do you have it? And he's just like, well, that's not ours. Where the hell did that come from? So he takes the device and he locks Joe in the room in order to go and tell Izzy exactly what he just found.
I think Sek is actually going to return it to Arcturus.
Well, he doesn't recognize it at first, I don't think.
No, but Izzy does.
Yes. So he goes to be like, the human princess is doing some weird fucked up stuff in our room. What the hell should I do about this?
What she's actually doing is escaping.
Yes, because, again, we're giving Jo some agency where she sees a window and she's able to crawl out of it, go alongside the building and crawl into a completely different window where she's promptly caught again.
Yeah, unfortunately.
Yeah. Well, first she gets spooked because she sees what she believes to be, the big dude.
Agador.
Why do I keep forgetting these stupid names?
Agador.
She finds Agador, basically, and is, like, spooked, so she goes running, and she happens to run directly into the Ice Warriors.
Yeah. They're like, what are you doing here? Didn't we lock you in our room? And I can't remember the excuse she gives, but anyway, she says that she was frightened, that's why she escaped. She accuses them of hurting Arcturus. They say, it's not us. We think it's the Doctor. Jo says, of course it's not him. And also, Arcturus' life support system being removed wouldn't actually kill him.
Because it wasn't his life support.
He'd be in pain, but it wouldn't have killed him.
And isn't that suspicious?
Yeah. And then we get the big reveal. Like, well, you're the Ice Warriors, you're a warlike race. No, we were once. We now reject violence and seek the way of peace. And Joe's like, well, you've got guns. Yeah, well, you have to survive if you want to sue for peace. It's just for self-defense.
Yeah.
Surprisingly played straight, as you'll find out at the end of part 3. This isn't like a ruse like, oh yeah, we have these weapons because we need them to defend ourselves. Psych, we're actually evil. No. They don't
they
go
actually just need
that way.
to defend themselves. They
don't go that way. They do use it to defend themselves and others a bit later on.
Yeah. We should mention that while all this is happening, there's also cut-ins where the Doctor has saved Arcturus. And then the entire time, Hepesh is like, this is Agador! And everybody's like, it can't be fucking Agador because Agador is a fucking idiot, so... The Doctor's, like, looking directly at Izzy, like, it must come from somebody who's very technologically advanced.
Yeah.
And Izzy's like, so are you. Shut the fuck up.
This is that Spider-Man meme again, isn't it? Where they're pointing at each other.
Pretty much, yeah. So it's just a whole bunch of accusations going back and forth. And then at one point, the Doctor comes out. Oh, I have just been handed some beef jerky.
Snape kills Dumbledore.
I think he heard you.
Thanks, Chris. I appreciate the spoiler for my car.
I heard this scratching at my door, and I was like, I'll get to her in a minute. And then she just sort of walked in and handed me some beef jerky.
Oh, what a kind friend.
I know, she's fantastic.
Also, I appreciate
You're going to put all of this in.
I appreciate the spoiler for my car.
Anyways, where was I?
God damn it, Bob. The Doctor, they're saying to the Ice Warriors, oh, I wonder who could have done this, because and said, well, you're technologically gifted as well, so they both against each other. But then, the Doctor allows himself to be tricked.
Essentially, yeah.
By the King's champion, Groon. Because Groon can't talk, so the Doctor sees him, he's like, what is it, Groon? Is someone in trouble? Groon just sort of nods and gestures towards the door. Then Groon loses
I'm sorry.
him.
This is going to be so offensive, but what is it, Lassie? What is it, boy?
It's offensive, but it's out there now.
This is 100% what it feels like, though.
Yeah, it is. Because he can't talk. Again, thank God this character is not black.
Small miracles.
But anyway, the upshot is that Groon's led him into a trap because he sees Agador. He comes face to face with Agador. And it's real. We can see it on the screen. It's real. It's an actual monster. But it doesn't really go for the Doctor. The Doctor sort of, finds almost a way to placate it, to calm it. Is this here where Joe ruins everything?
No, it's way after that.
I apologize. Sorry, part 3 is when he comes face to face with Agador. Sorry, yeah. He's being chased by Agador here, that's it. He's being chased by Agador, and to get away, he goes into the shrine room, and that's when he makes a mistake. Because visitors should not enter the shrine room, they're impure. So he's just given Hepesh the means to order his execution. Whoops!
Oopsies.
Yeah, sorry, I was getting...
we should also mention that after the Doctor leaves, before Joe is able to escape, Arcturus is like, I don't remember anything. This is so weird. And Izzy is like, I suspect it was the Doctor who did this. And so they're just like trying to discuss and be like, well, what's going on? I mean, why would he be doing this? And so they surmise that it must be that they're trying to form an alliance between, quote-unquote Princess Josephine and the King, so that they can essentially, dominate the Galactic Federation.
Yeah. And then part 2's cliffhanger is it follows on from the Doctor bursting into the shrine by mistake, although he was led there by Groon and then by Agador. He desecrated the temple, so of course the King's got only one course of action open to him. He has to sentence the Doctor to death. And he does, in fairness to him, he's not very happy about this.
No, he's very unhappy.
He doesn't deliver the sentence with any kind of satisfaction or gusto. It's like, there's only one thing I can do, the sentence is death, but he doesn't sound at all happy about it.
Which, I mean, he wouldn't be, because this will definitely screw up his chances of joining the Galactic
There's
Federation.
also that, isn't there, as well?
Yeah.
Part 3, the sentence is commuted down to trial by combat, because Joe, pleads the Doctor's case to the King. He's a delegate, and you want to be flexible, well, be flexible, show some mercy. So I can't let him off completely, but you can fight Groon in the ceremonial pit, and if you win that, all charges will be dropped.
Which Hepesh is not happy about, but, the King is like, he is a delegate, so therefore he is automatically given rank, so therefore he is afforded this opportunity to defend himself. Literally.
Yeah. Then the King proposes to Joe.
Yeah, not a good time, dude.
No. Your friend has been sentenced to trial by combat and might die. By the way, will you marry me? And she doesn't give him an answer straight away. But he wants to marry her, and he wants her to help him change the planet for the better.
Yeah.
Whether he succeeds in that, we'll find out later. Well, obviously he doesn't succeed in marrying her, because come on. Joe's in the next story.
Yeah.
It would have been an interesting way for her to leave the TARDIS, but she's in the next story, which is the Sea Boys. There, I said it properly.
Thank you.
You see, I can learn, Fresno. I can learn.
I'm sure if Frez was here, he would also be thanking you.
Yeah.
But he is only here in the memory of him saying this.
Nibbles!
That sounds very sort of ominous, the memory of him. But, yeah.
Well, he was eaten by a Groom.
He was, yes. Did that voice come out of the Groom?
He'll get better.
Did that voice come out of the Groom? Whatever.
Can I just say, the way that you're saying it, it sounds like you're saying Groon, which is the name of the King's champion.
Gru, not Groon.
I know, but the way you said it, it sounded like that, and now I'm kind of regretting saying that a Gru ate him.
Between Gru, Groon, and Grunt, I've got no chance in this, have I?
No, not really.
Not tonight, no. Not tonight, Josephine. So, we then get another wild bit where Hepesh basically admits that, yeah, I'm behind this, to the Doctor. I don't want us to join the Federation. I've got an ally assisting me. It's a powerful ally. He doesn't name who the ally is, obviously. And he tries to get the Doctor to agree to escape, possibly again to have him killed as he was escaping, although they don't actually elaborate on this.
Although the entire time, Hepesh is assuring the Doctor, like, why would I want you killed? That would just bring war and panic to Peladon.
Yeah,
I want you to just escape, leave, and then none of this Federation shit happens.
Yeah. And he even draws him a map to let him get away.
And I have to say, the Doctor, at this point, does know that it's Hepesh. Because as he's going into the, as he's being essentially put to death in the previous episode, he's like, I was going through the tunnels that are under the Citadel, and I happened to arrive at the shrine. And the king is like, what tunnels? I don't know what you're talking about. And Hepesh is like, there's no tunnels.
Yeah. You're right.
And essentially outs himself to the Doctor.
He gives himself away.
Yeah.
And somebody, and I won't say who it is because I don't want to give away who the ally is, but somebody is listening into this conversation via a bug.
I mean, we do see who it is.
We do see who it is. Should I just say it?
Might as well.
It's Arcturus.
Yeah.
Arcturus, and I think there's a scene in part 2 where Hepesh and Grun and Arcturus are all together. Kind of, giving away the fact that they're in league with each other, but we get the really interesting scene with Joe and the Ice Warriors.
Yeah. Because
they have a long conversation, and they're like, "Well, we're delegates. We can't interfere with local customs, but I don't know what's going on. I believe the Doctor may have had a hand in what happened to Arcturus, but I'm not sure." Then she says, "Well, if that's the case, Izzy says, but I have a problem because the Doctor saved me and my colleague from the statue, and because of that, I owe him a debt."
Honor bound.
Yeah, here comes the honor of the Ice Warriors. And even when they were the villains back in the Second Doctor era, they still had a code of honor. This is what makes the Ice Warriors, for me, a fascinating species in Doctor Who.
Yep. So he's going to do everything he can to help save the Doctor since, the Doctor saved him.
It's another reason why the monster of Peladon kind of sucks, because they revert back to being evil Grr. Or at least this breakaway sect of Ice Warriors does.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's annoying.
Yeah.
But yes, Jo comes up with the plan. She tells the two Ice Warriors to go collect the Doctor while she goes and runs to the tunnel so that they can escape. It's just unfortunate for them that the Doctor has been busy building a device and then escapes.
Yeah. And the device, I realise now that I didn't quite manage to find a story about all the mirrors.
It's not a mirror, it's a lens.
Okay, Todd's Wiki's full of crap again. It calls it a spinning mirror.
It, so it's a lens.
It calls it a spinning mirror. But it isn't. It's a lens.
Yeah.
But he's been building this in his cell, and when he goes in the tunnels, he encounters Agador.
But you know what? TARDIS Wiki calls it a mirror, so fuck it.
Doctor Who Mirror Alert! Whoop, 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 whoop.
I mean, I also played myself by saying the word mirror, so...
Yeah, you kind of fucked yourself.
I kind of did. It's okay. He's here in spirit, as you say. But he uses this device to hypnotize Agador.
Along with a Venusian lullaby.
Yeah. He comes face to...
Honestly, I like the lullaby. It's very nice.
It's not bad at all, is it? He this is where he comes face to face with the Beast. And actually the Beast is not that beast-like.
Well, it is very beastly, but it's not very beast-like.
Yeah, I mean, it's not particularly aggressive or violent once the Doctor's calmed it.
Let's put it this way. It's a giant puppy dog.
I think it's meant to be... I think they said that it was supposed to be like a giant monkey. But when they saw it
like
on
a
the
dog,
set, it's more
though.
like a bear. Or a dog.
But it is more like a dog because it can be trained, it can be calmed, it's not actually evil, so forth.
Well, I mean, in appearances, in second appearances, it's more like a bear. Or a giant pig.
Well, yes, but I was talking about the way it acted.
True.
Also, can I just say, I love the running joke through this part where the Doctor makes the device, he spins the little lens thing, and he accidentally hypnotizes himself for a moment.
Yeah, and then shakes it off.
And then he keeps doing it to other people by accident.
Yes. I do like that.
Yeah, that's a good joke.
I also like the fact that he's finally got Agador calmed, and then Joe runs in and ruins it.
Yeah. Yeah, she grabs a torch and she runs in like, I'll save you!
Yeah, but in fairness, she didn't know what was happening.
Yeah. And the Doctor isn't too mad at her, he's just kind of annoyed.
He doesn't really chide her that much, no, because again, he probably realises, okay, this looks like he was about to eat me. So Joe had my best interest at heart here.
She was trying to save me, it's cool.
Yeah. I do love their relationship.
It is very nice.
It starts out not the best in her first story. He kind of finds her annoying, but they do form a real bond as time goes on.
Yeah.
Nice? So where are we? Oh yes. So the Doctor says, Agador is not a god. It's a real beast. It's a real animal, and somebody has trained it. He doesn't actually name Hepesh specifically, but it's obvious he means Hepesh.
Yeah.
But somebody has trained this Agador to attack anything it's ordered to attack. Then he runs into Hepesh, and Hepesh is like, "You must now face the trial by combat, Doctor." And he can't get away from it.
He doesn't meet with Hepesh. He goes to the he actually goes to the throne room and
That's
like,
right, but Hepesh
I'm
overrules
here.
him. Yeah. Hepesh overrules it, you're right.
Yeah, because Hepesh is trying to tell the king he escaped, it's the coward's way out, and the Doctor's like, I'm right here, I didn't run from anything.
He escaped, to which the Doctor said, "I'm not the master, how dare you?"
That.
He will turn up in the next story. But,
Oh, boy.
yes, Sea Boys was in it.
Oh, yeah, he was.
He's in the Sea Boys, isn't he?
I think.
Yeah, it's because he's in prison. And he
Oh,
and
yeah,
he fools
yeah,
the governor,
yeah,
and they have that
yeah.
great sword fight where he eats his lunch.
I remember now.
The Doctor literally just stops the fight to eat a sandwich.
I remember that now.
Yeah, that's the master in the Sea Boys, but he's not in this. The fight is about to take place between the Doctor and Groon. They climb down on ropes into this pit, and a rather long and protracted battle ensues between the Doctor and the King's Champion.
Did someone say a battle?
I was about to say, Kat, you've got the exact button on your soundboard for this. Thank you for not disappointing. Please turn it up when we get copyright strike. Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
This is automatically where it stops.
Yes. But they do. The Doctor gets the upper hand very early on because they start fighting with pikes, like spears. And the Doctor actually manages to disarm Groon pretty quickly. But then Hepesh cheats and has a guard toss Groon a sword, which he uses to quickly chop the Doctor's pike in half, and then down again and down again. But the Doctor regains the upper hand. They start fighting bare knuckle, which is never going to end well for the King's Champion because, the Doctor knows Aikido. Venusian Aikido.
And honestly, I really like this fight. It's like, it kind of makes sense within the plot, and also you get to see the stuntman put on a gray wig and throw some dude around.
I mean,
I will say the wig is a little obvious.
That is what happens, but I love the fact that you boiled it down to the barest minimum there. As fights do go, it's not bad, actually.
It's like, this is almost as good as wrestling. It's one fully clothed guy with a weird outfit who's fighting against a mostly naked guy, and they're wrestling around.
And we do get, like, they have this decision to have, like, close-up shots of the Doctor and then of Groon, like, about to grapple with each other. It is really well done as fights in this era go.
Yeah, I quite enjoyed it.
It maybe goes on a bit too long, and maybe it's a bit of writer's gotta eat, but we
got to see the Doctor be a badass.
It does serve well, the third Doctor was a badass.
Yeah.
He had absolutely no qualms whatsoever of getting into physical altercations and winning them. He tried not to permanently hurt the person that he was fighting, but he wasn't afraid to put them down.
Oh yeah, it's like he ends this fight by basically choking Groon out until he just passes out.
He chokes him in the rope net that's hung around the pit.
Like, damn.
Which is totally not like a rope from a jungle gym or something they'd taken, or an army assault course. But he then says, I'm not going to kill you.
Some kid nearby the studio goes to the playground the next day. It's like, why is half the playground gone? Oh, the Doctor Who people needed some set pieces.
Yeah. But he actually says, I won't kill you. I wouldn't kill the King's champion. And the King actually salutes the Doctor for this. He acknowledges it. But we're at the cliffhanger. So the cliffhanger is not he wins the fight. The cliffhanger is a gun is drawn. And a gun is fired. And we see two things happen. We see Arcturus extend his little death ray that we saw back in part 1. And then the death ray appears to fire. And this is brilliantly done. This is like a really nice fake out.
Oh, yeah.
Because you think...
It's like, I honestly had no idea how they were going to get out of this.
No. You think that the fire that you see is Arcturus firing his death ray at the Doctor. Part 4...
The truth is that it wasn't.
Yeah, part 4 starts, and Arcturus is dead. Because the actual fire you saw was the big ice warrior.
He had actually gone and saved the Doctor.
Yeah, thereby repaying the debt.
Awesome sauce.
On behalf of Izzy, yeah. I love how the ice warriors handled this story. They keep you guessing to this very moment where it's like, no, they are actually good all along. And they prove it by killing one of their fellow delegates, which is surely going to not be good for the Alliance, but he was a traitor.
It was Arcturus all along.
Thank you for that.
I couldn't resist.
Nor should you. So, yeah, it was Arcturus all along, as you said. And at this point, Hepesh is like, I'm out of here. The plot's about to be uncovered. Forget this. So they just decide, well, yeah, he was obviously working with Arcturus, wasn't he? And it was Hepesh that took out the life support with instructions from Arcturus to not actually kill him. And that was the meeting we saw them have, but we didn't see the end of. So, it all makes sense. The answers were there, they just didn't tell you it outright. Which again, it
would have been a good little decent mystery if they didn't make it obvious it was Hepesh all along.
Yeah, true. I mean, he just says, oh yeah, it's me, to the Doctor in part 3.
Like, to be fair, excuse me, that part where Arcturus is listening in on the two Ice Warriors and Joe, I kind of thought that he was doing this for his own reasons. Because he was very suspicious of the humans this entire time, so I thought he was listening in on them to see if they were forming an alliance in order to take him down or something.
They could...
And that he'd be worried about that.
They could have played it like that.
But they didn't.
Yeah. So, we now have a problem, because, Arcturus is dead, so they said, well, the threat's over, is it? I'm afraid the threat is far from over, Alpha Centauri, because Hepesh is still out there. And there's a very good chance...
also the fact, there's also the fact that Hepesh could quite easily get in contact with the Federation and be like, hey, So, your Ice Warrior people have just killed your Arcturus people.
Yeah. And spark a
help?
war between them. Exactly.
Yeah.
So there's a very real possibility of that. There's a very real possibility of civil war. The king needs the help of the delegates to avert that civil war. While this is going on, Groon has realised that he was manipulated. Although, again, he has no dialogue because he can't talk.
Yeah.
So we get a scene instead where he goes to Hapesh, who's currently planning a mutiny with some soldiers that are loyal to him, including the one that threw the sword down to Groon. And he basically just cuts contact with Groon. It's like, you've been a loyal servant. I'll be grateful for the way that you've served me. Now we have to part ways. Groon doesn't take this and tries to pull Hapesh away. Like, no, you're going to face justice.
He just hefts the dude up.
Yeah, he beats up the soldiers. He's dragging Hapesh away, and then a soldier gets a lucky punch in and knocks him out.
Well, no, that's not what happens. Is he drags Hapesh away, and then the other soldiers come for him, so he's busy fighting them, and then Hapesh comes behind him with a big rock and knocks him out.
Oh God, yeah.
The king's champion, people.
Damn it! I missed the opportunity during the fight scene to make a Batman reference. I threw a log at him. It was a big log. Rest in peace, Kevin Conroy.
Honestly, the animated series was fantastic. I wish we could have it again.
That one really has hit me hard because that's essentially my childhood. But
same,
or a large part of it. But he will live on for his voice. And there was a comic on Twitter that I retweeted and made me cry because it was basically Batman couldn't talk because he'd lost his voice.
Oh.
Yeah, and then they put the bat signal up, and of course it's Kevin Conroy's face. So
because he's been doing the Batman voice for a while now. He was in all the video games, right?
Yeah, he was the voice of Batman since the 90s in the animated series and Justice League. He was Bruce Wayne in Batman Beyond. And he was also
basically he is animated Batman.
Yeah, hence I've lost my voice. Kind of a nice tribute to him. But back to Doctor Who then. Now I've made you all sad. Yes. Sorry about that. Yeah, Groon's out on the floor unconscious. They don't kill him. They just leave him laying where he is.
Yeah.
The Doctor then finds him, and Groon is like, well, again, he can't say this through dialogue because he can't talk, but the Doctor basically says it for him that he's been manipulated by Hapesh and he wants to make amends, so they form an alliance. It's obvious that you were not doing this because you're evil. You're doing this because you're loyal to the king. You thought you were doing the king's bidding, and you were manipulated by Hapesh.
Can I just say, I love the way TARDIS Wiki puts it. They say Hapesh's guards managed to overpower Groon, which is not true. He got knocked out by Hapesh.
Yeah, that's wrong.
And leave him for the Doctor to find, whereupon the two put aside their differences and pursue Hapesh.
Which they don't, because he can't talk!
Yeah.
It might as well say to me, we're going to go form an alliance. Do you understand? And Groon just nods. They might as well just do that. Sorry, I'm getting angry for no reason.
Or kind of something like, oh man, essentially putting words in his mouth the entire time.
Which they have to do because he can't talk.
Well, yes, but I mean, like, oh my gosh, you got attacked by Hapesh?
Yeah, he can grunt.
And he's going to go and, like, try to take over the entirety of Peladon?
Oh god, it is Lassie.
And you think that I'm, like, a really fantastic guy? Oh, wow, man, you're just giving me so many compliments.
It is Lassie. Good God.
I fucking told you.
You were right.
I told you.
Yeah, I know. You were right.
What's that, Lassie? Timmy's stuck in the well?
So Groon and the Doctor have now gone off to try and pursue Hapesh / find Agador. Meanwhile, Joe's been left with the delegates to try and convince them to support the king, first of all, and say, yes, they can join the Federation, even though we're down a delegate because an Ice Warrior shot him. And
mostly he just wants some help with making sure that if his country does fall into civil war, he'll have some backup.
Yeah.
So they're voting on that.
The Federation can send soldiers to help.
And I love this part, too, because Joe's like, all those in favor of helping, raise your hand. And so she raises her hand. The two Ice Warriors raise their hand. And they all just sort of glare at Alpha Centauri.
Yeah. And it eventually gets the hint. And I would say Minkley raises
his hand. And then it's like, I want you to know I voted under duress.
I voted for Kodos. I do love the way that Alpha Centauri meekly puts up one of its 6 hands. It's kind of great. And I think this is the line we get, isn't it, where Alpha Centauri is panicking and freaking out, and Izzy takes Joe to one side and says, Arcturus was callous, but I think I preferred his cold logic to the screaming of Alpha Centauri. Damn, what a great line that is. Again, love the way the Ice Warriors are depicted in this story.
Oh, yeah. But at this point, Hepesh has, taken a bunch of his followers. They took down the King's Guard. They run into the royal room, and there's this big battle where you can't tell what's going on because everybody's wearing the exact same
That's the problem, isn't it? They're all wearing the guard uniform, so it's like, who's winning? Who's losing? Who's getting killed?
I can't tell.
It turns out nobody. I think this is a fight where no one gets killed. At least on camera.
I think maybe 1 or 2 people die, but I'm not entirely sure. But it ends when one of the guards comes up, puts a sword to the king's throat, and it's like, put down your swords or else I will kill him. Even though, Hepesh literally just said, don't hurt him.
This is the captain that threw the sword to Groon. So, yeah. Meanwhile, while that's all going on, down the tunnels, the Doctor and Groon have found Agador, so we get the hypnotism again. Does he hypnotize Groon by mistake as well?
I don't think so. He did earlier with Joe, but I think that was the last opportunity.
I'm kind of glad that they play this straight, because it's not really the time for it.
Yeah.
So, Hepesh has got the king at Sword Point, and he basically says to him, Hepesh, you're supposed to be my friend and my ally. He says, what's made you do this? He says, you've rejected our old ways. Now you can go.
You okay? I learned it from watching you.
God damn it! God damn it! And so that's basically the crux of it. If the king renounces the Federation and agrees to stop trying to join them, he can remain king, and if not, then the royal bloodline of Peladon will come to a premature end. Then the Doctor comes in and says, I object. Wait, no, sorry, that's a wedding.
Yeah.
But
also, you're too soon because he calls in the delegates first. And
that's right. He calls in the delegates again at Sword Point. That they've all got to attend, so they're sort of grumbling. They're not very happy about it. They are given the chance to peacefully leave because I can't kill you. I'll start a war. I don't want to start
a war. It
doesn't
really help the fact that they try to call all their ships and be like, "Hey, we got a problem," but all of their communicators are down. So, the Alpha Centauri says, "Oh, I found my communicator was broken this morning," and then the Ice Warrior goes off to find his and finds that one's broken, and so they're like, "Well, guess we'll just have to use the human representatives," and she's like, I'm not actually the human representative. There's nothing up there to help us. I don't have a communicator to the Federation. My ship broke when we crash landed. Well, darn.
Yeah, she lost it in the crash. They also lost their credentials in the crash, as they say in part 1.
Yeah. So they're pretty much stuck there. He takes them into the throne room where they see that the king is being threatened. And, they're just like, We want you to go away. We'll handle ourselves. Just leave.
Yeah. And that's when he bursts in.
Yes.
With a friend in tow.
It's Agador.
Well, actually 2, because there's isn't Groom behind them. But, yeah. Agador is led into the throne room. And it turns out it's not a god. It was a long-thought extinct creature. But Hepesh found one in the mountains. And he tamed it, he trained it, and so it does its bidding.
Which, by the way, how does the Doctor know this?
I think he's banking on the fact that if he says this to Hepesh will basically crack and say, "No, you fool! This is what really happened." Which
Maybe?
actually is what happens, because Hepesh is like, "I control Agador, not you. Observe, Agador, kill." And Agador kills all right.
He's like, this isn't the real Agador. This is a beast that I trained.
That's it. Yes,
it's perfectly fine.
That's it. Yes, observe. I'm in complete control of it. Agador, kill. And Agador kills all right.
Yeah, Agador takes one look at the Doctor, looks at Hepesh, and then kills the shit out of Hepesh.
It's like that. It's like that moment in 1995 WCW where Ric Flair gets tagged in from Sting and then eventually attacks Sting. I don't know if I've linked you that before. I'll find you it later, but it's the funniest thing. It's like, yeah, he's in, and he eventually attacks his tag team partner.
Curse your sudden but inevitable betrayal.
He just doesn't wait 10 seconds. It's wonderful. He celebrates. He does the woo, and then just goes, to hell with you, bang. And the same thing happens here. He takes one look at the Doctor, then turns on Hepesh and attacks him, and fatally wounds him. And the stupid thing is that Hepesh has just betrayed the king, was going to potentially kill him, or have him killed.
I mean, think about it this way. The king literally just lost somebody who was like a father to him. Maybe like a couple hours to a day ago. And now he loses the other one who has been with him the entire time as well, and was also like a father to him. And even though he betrayed him in the last moments, you can't. You can't really get rid of that connection that's there.
No, even with betrayal, yeah.
Yeah, but that's the reason why I think that the king kneels down and he hugs Hepesh's body to him as Hepesh says something about, maybe I was wrong, but I really don't want us to join the Federation because I believe that we need to stick to the old ways, and then he dies.
Yeah. And the king starts crying.
Yeah.
Oh no! Anyway.
It actually is like that because Joe comes over and side hugs him. It's like, they're waiting for you. And then he has to get up and be, just basically a king.
He also gets the rebels to lay down their weapons because their leader is dead.
Yeah. Is it the king or is it the Doctor that says that?
Tony Vicky says it's the king, and I think it might be the king. Let's just say it's the king, but
yeah, I don't remember because I think at that point. No, I remember because the Doctor leads Agador back out, and then he comes back, and Joe, sadly shakes her head to show that Hepesh did not survive.
Yes.
And so the Doctor looks at the rebels and says, "Your
leader is dead. Yeah, it is the
Lay
Doctor.
down your arms."
It is the Doctor. TARDIS Wiki getting it wrong
That's
again, folks.
TARDIS Wiki, not entirely villainous. I'm shocked.
Not entirely accurate either.
Yeah.
Although I will have a soft spot for them forever for the burn of the century they put on Eric Saywood. Eric Saywood thought he could write good dialogue.
He was wrong.
That's an actual line. Well, not that he was wrong, bit, but that's an actual line that appears on TARDIS Wiki somewhere.
Yeah.
I think it's for the ultimate foe. Which, in fairness, he basically took off the dead Robert Holmes, and was trying to, finish in his vision.
Yeah.
But his vision would have got the show cancelled and taken off the air. So.
Yeah.
It's
all the bad people are dead, so everything's happy now. And for some reason, it's the king's coronation, which I thought he was already the king, but okay.
Yeah.
So, the Doctor and Joe decide to stay for the coronation, and...
They've got the TARDIS back at this point because
Yeah.
the king sent workers to take it back up the mountain. Off camera.
Yeah.
To thank him for what he did.
Before, let me try to rephrase that. So the Doctor and Joe are talking, and they're, he's reminiscing about other coronations, and he's also thinking about how they arrived on Peladon, and thinks that it was the Time Lords who led him to Peladon in order to fix stuff, and that he didn't get the TARDIS actually working. At this point, Agador comes in.
I love the fact that Agador is basically the equivalent of Wobba Fett in this scene.
I'm telling you, he's a big puppy because he comes over and he's like absolutely, he adores the Doctor.
Yeah, he's quite a fan of the Doctor now. He's trying to hug him. And I was like, come on, let's get you taken back to where you belong.
And then the king comes in and he's like, I never did get an answer for that proposal.
I just imagine him winking now, god damn it.
And so Joe's like, I really can't marry you, and honestly, I'm not a princess. And he's like, I don't care. I mean, I'm going to keep trying, but I accept your decision.
Yeah. He does, allow her to go. He doesn't try to keep her there by force, because that's not what this character is.
No.
He's
it's
not
like
a villain.
He is genuinely a nice guy, but
Yeah.
he's not a nice guy.
He's a tyrant. He's not a tyrant. He's not a despot. He's not a villain. He's just someone who perhaps was manipulated by the wrong people, and perhaps didn't have the strength to stand up for himself, but does now that person is gone.
Yeah, it's like, that's why I think he was always supposed to be kind of a weak character, because that's just what his character was.
He doesn't show up in the sequel either.
No.
But the sequel is set 50 years into the future from this, so you can kind of... his daughter is in it, and that's where the sexism comes in.
Yes. Fun.
A woman can't be a
Fun.
ruler of a country, of a planet. Yes, she bloody can. Anyway, so
Anyways,
the wedding is off. It was never
the coronation is on.
But we do get a final little twist, because the Doctor and Joe do not get to stay for the coronation because a visitor arrives. The real delegate from Earth.
Oops.
And the Ice Warriors go
She's
to meet.
really late. Holy shit.
She is really late, and she's embarrassed by it. Oh, I can't believe I'm so late, but here I am. I'm the delegate from... What did you say? No, I am the delegate from Earth. Then who is the Doctor? And the Ice Warriors like, well, we better go and have a talk with him. Doctor, who are you? And as he says this, the TARDIS is leaving.
Yeah, it's like the Doctor and Joe see her and they hear that she's the real Earth delegate, and they're like, so let's go to a different coronation.
Yeah,
and
Queen
get the heck
Victoria,
out
I've
of
been
here."
there, Joe.
So they run into the TARDIS, and then, all the representatives that are still alive come in, and they're like, what's going on? What the heck is this blue box thing?
The Earth delegate's face
the TARDIS dematerializes.
Her
and,
face is a picture.
It is. Apparently her name is Amazonia.
Yeah, never credited in the actual story. She's just Earth delegate, but yes.
But yes, I really like that as a way to end the whole thing, because it's just like, where was the Earth delegate this whole time?
Apparently delayed. Goddamn trains. I don't know. I mean, it's the 70s. It's not going to be protesters on the M25, is it? Although they've now stopped doing that because they claim it's to give time for the government to consider that to change their course of action. The real reason is a lot of them are in jail right now, so there's not enough people to actually do the protests.
Good.
That TikTok of the protester claiming she didn't have a future, interspersed with Del Boy from Only Fools and Horses telling her she's a tart, is really funny.
Although I will say we're starting to get these climate change idiots over in the U.S. too. It's like we've already kind of had them, But we've also gotten some really, really bad ones. It's like,
some
do you
news
remember?
came out today
I
that
think it
should
was
really stop them in their tracks, but it won't. But actually, the UK has done
No.
very well in terms of implementing climate change protocols in the past year. They're like ranked 8th in the world or something.
Yeah.
Australia,
It's
shockingly,
like I want to say this was around the time of the soup thing, if I remember correctly. Well, the first soup thing, I should mention.
yeah, I'm going to say there's been quite a few soup things in Europe now, but
The very first one that we were talking about with the kids.
the Van Gogh, yes, the Van Gogh.
Yes. Yes, instead of the dude who tried to glue his head to the girl with the pearl earring.
What a numpty that guy was.
I know, seriously. And then they dumped soup all over him. Like, okay, what?
His fellow protester dumped soup over him.
Yeah.
What?
He was trying to glue his head to the painting, which obviously, thankfully, there's glass. But they also dumped tomato soup over his head.
That's the one thing. So far, they have all the ones they've quote unquote defaced have all been protected.
Thankfully. But there was a clip of a similar protest in the U.S. over in Maryland, where there was this whole line of people who were blocking a major highway. Like an actual major highway that traverses through several different states, and there's 18-wheelers and stuff on that highway. And there's this guy who walks up to them, and he's shouting at them, begging at them, please, you need to move. I'm on parole. If I'm late for my job, I could get sent back to jail.
Oh, I've heard the story, yeah.
And it's like, regardless of what that guy did, because obviously he was out on parole, so it wasn't that bad, I hope. But he was trying to reform. He was trying to give himself a good life, and these guys basically ruined it for him. It's like, should he have put his hands on the protesters when he tried to push them out of the way? No, 100%, that's on him. But the fact that they wouldn't move, even though later said they were sympathetic, and also started a GoFundMe...
Yeah. Oof.
I highly doubt that money ever made it to him.
Oof. Yeah, that's bad. Then again,
but yeah,
you've got protests in France, which were broken, which lasted exactly one day because the public just weren't having it.
Good.
They just pulled them off the road.
Good.
And didn't let them get back to the road. It's like, no, you're not delaying me, sunshine. I've got somewhere to go. You haven't. Stay there.
Although I will say one of the most aggravating things I've seen is there were some people who were pulling these protesters off the road. They would go back to get another one, and the first protester would just crawl back into place.
That happened a lot in the early days. Yeah, they'd move one off, and another one would just take their place. Because there was footage of in London where they were trying to free an ambulance crew off.
Oh, God.
And so they're holding them to the ambulance, go, and one tries to crawl back, and he gets pulled back and says, "You absolute tosser. Come here."
It's like, how do these people not realize? I know that the Stop Oil people is run by the oil heiress, and they're more than likely being lied to. But how do they not realize that the more that they do this, the more people will absolutely despise them?
Because in the UK, at least, they've been led by an absolute weapon of a man who thinks some pretty horrifying things, and they believe him. Ugh. Which is why they think they haven't got a future.
So it's a cult.
Essentially.
Great.
Anyways, let's move from just cults
to less horrifying things.
Extinction Rebellion, I'm not sure about that, but just to cover my bases. Yeah, less horrifying things. What did you think of The Curse of Peladon?
I highly enjoyed it. It was, it had humor in the right spots. It had action in the right spots. I didn't feel that it dawdled too long. There were some parts where it's just like, this has gone on just a slightly bit long, but everything tended to have something important in it. Obviously there were some weak characters. The king is quite obviously one of them, but he was kind of made to be that way. I think that Jo should have gone to do a lot more because she was capable in this episode, but there was a lot more that she could have done as, a person in general. But otherwise, I highly enjoyed it. It's like, I would make some changes just to the plot to make the whole overarching who is it story a little bit less obvious. But otherwise, good choice. Very good choice.
I'm glad you enjoyed it. And I actually enjoyed it as well.
Yeah.
Because it being my pick and all. It's maybe not quite as good as I remember it being the first time I've seen it. It's a little bit slower paced than I remembered it being. But it's political intrigue done right. And yeah, okay, it's the whole European Union thing, and haha, let's laugh at the British. But actually, this is how you do it right. Because it's not that subtle, but it's also not hammered into your face at every opportunity. The EU is good, bang. The EU is good, bang. It's nothing like that. There is subtlety and nuance in the story, and I love the way the Ice Warriors are depicted. We don't know ally, enemy until we find out at the end that, yeah, ally, but they keep you guessing. That's great. Alpha Centauri is annoying, but also it's kind of endearing, oddly. Despite being a giant penis in a cloak. This is the thing that this story does right, that the Monster of Peladon does wrong. The supporting cast are quite enjoyable. And again, the king, although he's quite a weak character at the start, he grows into his role. And David Troughton does a good job. And then you've got the Doctor and Joe being delightful throughout. So yeah, I think this is a rather good third Doctor story, and I'm glad I picked it. And speaking of picks, I believe it's your choice next.
Yes.
So how many episodes...
So...
Go on.
We're not doing the Australian K9.
Oh, really?
Yes. Instead, we're doing something where we're going to have it happen again, where we're going to have some sort of thematic or interesting connection to the previous episode. You know what I want to do, Rain?
Pick the Monster of Peladon?
No. I want a reunion.
Oh, clever.
A school reunion.
Of course, because K9.
Yeah! And Sarah Jane.
Yes. I really did think you were going to pick Australian K9, so your pick is school reunion.
Yes.
Okay. Good choice.
Because honestly, I want to look back more at, RTD's era, since we're going to be having him again. I want to look a little bit... I mean, we've already had plenty of David Tennant, but also Frez isn't here, so we can look more at David Tennant. And, just take a look at, his Doctor and everything. It's pretty early on in his season. There's only one bad point about this episode, which I am very sorry for.
Oh? Oh, God, yes.
20 women.
Yes. Damn it, and he even gets a rather good moment. God damn it.
Yeah, it's like that's the one really, really, really bad part about all of this. But, we can't avoid him forever.
No, I think we agreed we would do stories with Mickey in them as long as we address the whole allegation thing each time.
Yeah, 20 women.
And you've done that with 20 women, so that's fine.
So yes, join us next time for the fun of school reunion, where we'll have the Doctor, Rose, 20 women, as well as Sarah Jane and the OG K9, John Leeson.
I think also there's a rather good guest villain in this too.
Yes.
Played by a
This
very...
also is what caused the spin-off for the Sarah Jane Adventures.
Oh?
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
After this episode was produced, she was approached and was like, hey, you want to have your own spin-off?
Which is why the ending was... Yeah, that's why the ending was written how it was.
Yep.
You're absolutely right. Okay, so join us next time for that. Meantime, you can find us...
And hey, before we continue on, guess who does the music for this, Rainiac?
Oh! Have you added that?
I can be nice.
Yes, you can. I
So
must
there
admit,
you
I
go.
can't remember the music being used in School Reunion, but I'm sure I'll be able to find some examples of good tracks.
Yep, and then I'll finally get to use that one button that you gave me.
Oh, you've got it?
Yes.
Yeah, well, it was right at the time, and I'm totally not going to regret giving it to you. Not at all. I mean, I like Dear Falling Angel, so it's fine. I can just, groove out every time it's pressed. But save it for next week, because it's not appropriate now, because we're not talking about Murray God. But, in the meantime, if there's nothing else to mention or plug,
Nope.
well, you can find us lovely people then on Twitter at Reviews Doctor, and also individually at Reniac the Maniac, at Concave Usurper, at Freezing Inferno, we love you, Jerry, and at the Kachiri. Twitch.tv/Reniac /Freezing Inferno /Concave Usurper and /the Kachiri. By Back to the Unveil Volumes 1 and 2 by our good friend Krista Bittia. By The Tower for the Trees by our other good friend Sean Dillon. Both on Amazon.com. I wish I could direct you to other places, but they're on Amazon.com. And join us next time as David Tennant and Billy Piper and Elizabeth Sladen star in School Reunion. Until then, bye for now.
For those of you who may be wondering, Frez was eaten by a grue.
Oh no. Is the grue in recovery?
And that's all we're going to say.
We're going to do that again.
It was quite gruesome.
We're going to do that again because that's bloody harsh. Sorry.
What was?
Is the grue okay? Given the circumstances.
You're going to keep this as a blooper. I just want you to know that.
Am I? Okay.
Because that was funny.
Okay.